The other morning, I was walking my youngest to school. It was just a normal morning. As we were walking, her keychain that was on the back of her backpack was clinking. And as I looked forward, I noticed one of the neighbors that were coming up, their sprinklers were on. As we kind of got closer, I thought we were almost past um, the spray zone. I noticed right out the corner of my eye, I could see that the sprinkler head was turning just a little bit, and I saw it coming. So, without even much thinking about it, I slid my body in a position just enough where my back and my left arm caught the brunt of kind of the spray that was there. And I could tell you it was cold. I had my dress shirt on, and I was just, it's that kind of water that makes you think, like, man, I can't believe that I might have to go home and change. But here's the thing, my daughter didn't even notice what happened. She kept talking about her day in math and what she was going to be so excited about and looking forward to the day. And she was there completely dry, completely unaware that I just kind of sacrificed my shirt and my left shoulder to the spring of the lawn gods that wanted to just water and make sure that the lawn was lush. And, we just kept walking, kept talking, didn't really think much of it at the time. And as we got closer to the school, she finally looked up to me as we switched sides because I always like to walk on the side of the street when I'm walking with the girls. And she grabbed the hand and she said, "Wait, Daddy, why is your shirt wet?" And I just simply told her, "Because it's my job to protect you from the things that I can." Now, she looks kind of strange, like, why would you do that? But she kind of moved on. For 6 years old, they sometimes just, they don't need a big 5 point sermon. Just sometimes they take for what you say is what you say, right? So she just kind of nodded and kept going and switching subjects. Started telling me about the playground and the new gates that they put up, and more importantly, that they put chains and locks on the gates. So I just kind of asked, like, hey, why would they do that? And she said in her little 6-year old voice, to stop the bad guys from coming and destroying the playground. And in that moment, man, my heart broke a little bit. My heart sank. She's 6. And already at 6, concepts of bad guys is already kind of part of like what I considered a safe space. And already she seems to be connecting the dots between locks and chains with protection. Now, to be honest with you, on one hand, I'm glad that she feels and sees that some protections are being placed around her. But if I could be honest with you, truthfully, on the other hand, it stings a whole lot that she even has to think about that. It made me pause, made me think about, is this the tension that we live in right now? See, we want to protect the people we love from every sprinkler, every bad guy, every storm that they may face. But the truth of the matter is, and I've learned this a lot more being a dad, being a husband also, that we can't protect our loved ones from everything. What we can do is try to step in when we see something coming. When that sprinkler head turns our way, we can position ourselves in a way to take the spray on their behalf. When the world feels unsafe, we can put up gates and chains, not out of fear, but out of stewardship and maybe responsibility and protectionism. And as we got to the front of the school and we said our pleasantries and gave her a hug, and she kind of had to explain to me how she's going to go take a peek at what is for breakfast and of whether or not she'll decide if she'll eat something. On my way back to my house, that's when it kind of hit me. Had me thinking that life doesn't just hand us the kind of world that we want. It doesn't just show up on its own, because we have to be real. We see everything that's going on. We see the tension, the violence, the division. And as much as I'd love to shield my daughters from it all, I can't. You can't. None of us can. It's not enough to hope our kids will grow up to be safe. It's not enough to wish that our communities would thrive. I realize we have to build it. And we have to build it together. Because the choices you make don't just shape your life, they also shape mine. And my choices shapes yours. When we step up, or how about this, when we stay silent, that has ripple effects. It affects the kind of world that our children will inherit. And sometimes that looks like doing little things. Catching a sprinkler, taking the inconvenience, letting your shirt get wet so that someone else doesn't have to. And other times it's bigger, heavier things like building systems, speaking up when it would be easier to stay quiet. How about this? Making some sacrifices today that create safety and freedom for tomorrow. And here's what I've realized. Protecting isn't passive, it's actually active. Building isn't convenient, it's intentional. And the future that we want for our families, for our communities, for ourselves, it won't just appear. It has to be created together. So let me ask you this. Where in your life do you need to step in and, I don't know, take a spray? Where do you need to get a little uncomfortable or maybe even sacrifice something to protect and or create something better for the people around you? Maybe for some, it's at work where you need to advocate for someone who doesn't have a voice. Maybe it's at your home where you need to slow down, set aside your own comfort a little bit, and show up with presence for those around you. Maybe it's in your community where your decision to show up or your decision to stay silent will either build connection or deepen division. Because here's the bottom line. If we don't step up and shape the world that we want, I promise you, it'll get shaped for you. And that might be shaped by fear, shaped by division, shaped by the loudest voices that are in the room that may or may not align with what you think and what you believe. And the truth is, we can't do this alone, guys. We need each other. My effort matters, but so does yours. Your courage matters, but so does mine. And together, we can create something stronger than fear, something stronger than divisiveness. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather have a wet shirt than live with the regret of knowing I stayed silent when I should have stood shoulder to shoulder with others to do something. So let's not just hope for a better life. Let's just not hope for a better future. Let's not just hope for a better world. How about this? We create it. We step in, we step up, and we stand together. Even if it means you might get a little wet. And as always, guys, I want you to know I love you much.